Hey, how's it going, guys? Ancient Rune here, back with another Borderlands 3 build video, and today I'll be going over my ultimate Zane build that is based around no Season Pass 2 or no DLC at all. Many builds are focused on one powerful thing, but this build throws all those powerful things together to have the main goal of dealing the most damage and clearing content fast. This build takes a complete 180 from the full DLC Zane that goes Hustler Racer Tech for the most part. For mobbing, you have the choice of Pestilence Spam or Sparkplug and Sentinel, and then just Clone always doing its own thing, killing stuff for you on both choices. With bossing, you have the basic Clone plus Grease Trap until the boss is fire immune, to where we have some special stuff for that, which I will go over later in the video. Peak Zane is very weird and not conventional, which may scare people away, but this is truly Peak Zane without Purple Tree. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The save file will be found in my Discord, which is linked down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, first off, for the gear, we are going to go over the regular mobbing Pestilence spam. First off, we have the Pestilence with 150/90 anoint. This gun deals action skill damage on reload. The reload effect is times 10 the base damage, gets action skill scaling, splash, action skill damage, gun damage, radiation, and then all the other damage formula stuff. It can't crit nor get weapon type damage, but it is insanely strong and will one-shot everything. For mobbing, you just want that 150/90 anoint for that mobbing, because this will be a pure mult on this build, besides this, which is like only 25%. And then we have a Zepsis Eruption. This is just some nice debuff. I'll use this in sometimes takedowns. I used it in Guardian takedown, where I had like Anathema going and I couldn't have Clone kill it, so I just did some debuffs with this, and then I spam Pestilence and it worked just fine. And I just have this empty spot where I have an EMP5 for movement speed. But then we have the Sandhawk here. This is going to be the go-to weapon for Clone. If you're not blowing up Clone much or having to move him around, then the Anarchy can also be an amazing choice here. You can also give him a face puncher and take advantage of terror stuff, but then Clone won't be doing damage while mobbing, which is a downside, as well as not proccing salvation. So you do want to keep that in mind, but that would allow you to get a little bit more damage, like 35% damage, but it also depends on the victory rush, and I'll go over why. So with the Terror Anoints, you would go melee, apply Terror on your shield, so that if Clone melees an enemy with the face puncher, you will gain terror stacks. If you have a apply terror face puncher and you hand it to Clone and then swap away and don't have apply terror melee anywhere else, it will not stack terror. And then you would want to go grenade with terror V1. This is V1 damage, and it is only additive on this build with victory rush, and victory rush isn't always active, so it is consistent. I did try using a fish slap to gain stacks of terror, but it was so inconsistent and I killed stuff so fast that it did not do anything for me, so I just went basic anointments that really don't matter at all. So first off, we have the red suit. This is so we are immune to the pestilence damage. You want to make sure you have no bonus elements. You can have a rad bonus element, but only rad with the red suit. I have it with power charge, but it really doesn't matter. Any red suit would work. I have Sentinel move speed just because I have nothing else here for it. This is just nice because it'll make us move faster for more violent momentum, but definitely not necessary. Then we have an It's Piss here. Now this is additive with Zepsis Eruption, but we're not always using the Eruption, so we can just have this with our Clone and Sentinel throwing it. And then we have On Grenade Throw, which is only 25%. It does boost Pestilence, but it also is 25% compared to 150, so it's not going to do much, but it's better than nothing near. Alright, and then for the class mod, we want any class mod with points in violent momentum, even Infiltrator, even a class mod that is Purple Tree. Now, ideal focusing probably 3 or 4 points into violent momentum with action skill damage, maybe splash radius. I don't say splash damage because that's going to be ideal on a class mod, and so action skill damage is the big thing because it's a pure mult on this build. Splash radius is really nice because it means hitting more enemies, but I'd rather go for more damage than more radius. But if you get one or the other, you can just experiment and just have multiple class mods on you. I just go anti-freeze because it is the best class mod for this, only because of the 3 rolls, and it will break my shield when I activate an action skill, which Infiltrator does. Now, we're not activating our action skill as much to get to have our shield broken at all times, but it still does happen, and I'd rather not have that happen. And then for the artifact, you want to really just get any elemental projector victory rush with area of effect damage in the 2nd or 3rd slot. The victory rush matters less if you do go that terror route where you have the face puncher with clone, but otherwise you'd want to go victory rush. I do have a double roll radiation damage, which doesn't matter much because we have elemental projector. The pestilence will apply a rad dot to you even if you have the red suit, so we will have this elemental projector rad dot up at all times, so that those other rolls don't really matter. You can get action skill cooldown rate. I can't really think of anything else that would really help. So yeah, just those kind of rolls are ideal. If you do go the terror route, you could also go a elemental projector auto idle, and then we also have a launch pad that you can try and use to gain terror as well. It just means slamming, which means not punching with pestilence, and a lot of times enemies die too fast for the rockets to go after enemies, so may as well just keep killing. Alright, and then this is the non-gun spec. Now, because the skill tree choices I make, it is a little less strong, but not really. It's more just less action skill duration, so it makes it a bit tougher to keep this consistent, but it's not impossible and very fun on Zane. Also does mean there is a little bit of skill tree flexibility depending on how much you want to do this, which I do recommend. This is very fun. It's really just without Guardian Angel. This is a bit less competitive to the Pestilence fam, besides lower tier like the Proving Grounds and maybe some of these Circles of Slaughter, but in Malon Takedown and Guardian Takedown, Pestilence fam is so much faster. So first off, we have the Unforgiven with Terror Cryo. You want it with the plus 432 crit damage. Card crit here is a pure mult, so that's just 432% damage increase right there if we're critting, which we are doing with the Spark Plug, and that's the main reason we have this. Now you can also use the Zepsis Eruption, and this is usually the main gun you're going to be using because this gives a debuff, and we can animation cancel it with the drone pointing like we will be with the Pestilence and the Zepsis Eruption. So you'll just have that going, dealing a bunch of debuffs, and this will boost your damage, clones damage, and sentinels damage, making it ideal. Now you can do like a couple rounds of this debuff and then go slamming around with the Unforgiven, and that'll definitely be some amazing damage. Or you could just go consistency with only doing Zepsis Eruption. Again, just movement speed right here. And then we have the Sandhawk again. Really, you just element match. I like to go cryo because it's consistent, but if you're at a boss where you need that extra damage, then definitely element match there. And then we have any red suit with melee applied terror. I like the Novas just because it's some extra damage that happens sometimes, but really doesn't matter. And then just its piss for that debuff. It is less because of Zepsis Eruption, but it's still there. I did try and go damage grenades, but clone sometimes would blow itself up, and I really didn't like that. I'd rather clones stay alive, so I went with utility over damage. And then for the class mod, you're going to get Executor. Any top rolls work, it doesn't really matter. This gives us crit damage and hidden cryo damage, so this is really big. You'll want it with action skill damage ideally, and then splash damage and splash radius are also really good. Since you're only farming the passives, it makes it a lot easier, to where I would suggest going maybe 2 rolls out of maybe action skill and splash, as those two will definitely boost clone and drone, which is the most important thing here. And then we have the spark plug. Because we have Terror V1 here, I would just focus on spark plug with good passives and not the victory rush. You do have to usually dedicated farm. There are other artifact farms like proving grounds, but if you are going a dedicated farm, I'd just go victory rush, so you do have that chance for a spark plug victory rush. But this also means that any purple victory or purple spark plug would be really good, ideally with cryo damage and area of effect damage, just a mix of them being really good. The cryo damage is for our cryo bonus element, which applies to our slams and sentinel. Alright, and this will be your main bossing really for those high health enemies. For regular content, I've never really needed it. So for true trial bossing, we're going to be using Grease Trap. If there's other high health like maybe Hunt and Joey, this will be good. But the Grease Trap is insane. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's dumb. I think most Zane players know this. You give Clone the Grease Trap, and then you will go into the hot grease mode and shoot, and Clone will be shooting the fire starter, and it just melts enemies. Now it is fire locked, so if an enemy does go fire immune, that is not good, and this does not work well, which I will go over that option after this. I have Digiclone ammo regen just because nothing else helps. Ideally you'd want AC splash, but you can't really get AC splash going unless you have like a barrier clone and you throw a barrier off an edge. If an edge is available, or you menu cancel your action skill like either barrier or drone, and I'd rather not do cheese like that. So Digiclone ammo regen, just so we can keep shooting the grease. And then we have Zepsis Eruption again. Element and Anointment don't matter at all. This is just some debuffing for some extra damage. And then these 2 slots don't matter for this bossing stuff. Now, some of this gear is DLC, and you don't need DLC because I've tested it with and without. It is a lot stronger, but again, not needed. The Old God is great because the Old God will apply to Clone when Clone has its own Old God shield. This 20% incendiary damage is huge. You can have it with anything. I have melee Terror on here, but Terror's not doing anything at all on this build. So the Anointment doesn't matter, just any fire Old God. Even passives don't matter. I have Absorb, doesn't matter. Anything else will work fine, just any shield. There's nothing we're getting to help with our damage here. And then just its Piss with Grenade Throw to hopefully maybe boost our damage a little bit more if Clone or Sentinel throws it at the boss. And then our class mod is going to be a class mod with points into Donnybrook, and then having action skill damage and splash damage. Action skill damage is going to be huge, and splash damage is going to be huge. So I'd probably go with something with 3 points in Donnybrook at least, with that splash damage, action skill damage. That doesn't mean that's only possible. That's just kind of what I'm thinking. Seeing Dead is ideal because it keeps the kill skills up, and it does have that effectiveness, but mainly because it keeps it up, so it helps keep Donnybrook up. I've done it fine without, and I've done it with Deceiver, I've done it without Deceiver. It all works well, but it's all about min-maxing, right? Deceiver is a purple class mod that can roll points into Donnybrook, so we have that here, and they can only roll 2 passives, so you got that splash and action skill damage. And then you just need any artifact with area of effect damage, and we really kind of just get them on other class mods here, so it doesn't matter which one you go. Alright, now if your boss goes fire immune, this is what you're gonna want to do. We are going to be taking advantage of the Fish Slap with White Elephant. I've tried Fish Slap by itself, Fish Slap with Unleash a Dragon, and White Elephant came on top, and we're loading a bunch of damage formula into this to make it be effective. So first off, we have the Psycho Stabber. You're going to be holding this when you throw your Fish Slap. It's 120% melee damage boost, then a 100% melee molt. And then we have Terror Cryo here for a nice bonus element that'll apply to the fish slap and the white elephant. Then we have the sellout here. This is going to be for applying a dot. You want as low level as possible. The lowest level anointed sellout is level 21. You'd get it from Earl's vendor right after you complete the quest. I guess 21 isn't the lowest, but it's the lowest I've gotten. You could probably get it a little bit lower. And so we use that to proc the white, or the elemental projector, which is elemental damage, which will apply to our fish slap, and then the element of our white elephant if one of the damage things we're using will match. So if I'm shooting corrosive, I'm hoping that the white elephant is corrosive. If I'm shooting fire, I'm hoping the white elephant is fire. Going shock doesn't work too well with elemental projectors, so I don't go it. And you can go radiation, but it's very rare that happens. And then you'd probably go a Wester gun or a Insider, which the Insider is from DLC 2. You just try and get those as low level as possible. And then a Zephyrs Eruption just for more debuff if you need it. And then this isn't really needed here. And then we have a Brawler Horde. When we're shooting the sellout, we are breaking this Brawler Horde. You just want as low level as possible Brawler Horde with melee applied terror. This will be used to gain terror from our grenade for that V1 damage. We'll double dip in white elephant as well, being huge. And then you just want Link and Reuter parts on your fish slap with the matching element. Link is ideal, but Reuter is not bad. You just want to make sure you don't have anything that will lower the damage of the fish slap. And then we have an Executor here. This is for the cryo boost, and then also just in case you hit the crit spot with the white elephant, when that explodes and it's on a crit spot, it will get crit damage, but it's mainly just for the cryo damage. You can also put on AC and Dead. This will keep up your kill skills if you shoot an enemy, and this is purely for a pocket full of grenades to keep our ammo regen up. Now what I have on here is splash damage, melee damage, and grenade capacity. Grenade capacity is nice, but focusing on melee damage and splash damage is really important. Melee damage, not as much, since we do have 300%, but this is Zane, where we don't have any boost really in our skill tree, so we are purely relying on our gear. So getting as much as possible is important, and the top rolls don't matter at all. Same if you go to Seeing Dead, the top rolls won't matter at all. And then we have the white elephant with the elemental projector for that elemental damage, and then the melee bomb, which has a 30% chance to apply, which will be a random element and will double dip a lot of your damage bonuses. So here you want to focus on getting areas effect damage in the second or third slot for increased radius, and then melee damage. You could go double roll melee as well, or you could go an element. I go corrosive here. It doesn't really matter too much what element is there or what passive is in the third slot. It could be melee damage you want, or it could be elemental. It kind of just depends. When really min-maxing, elemental is going to be better, but it really just can depend, because you also may not get that element applied to your white elephant. Alright, and then for the skill tree, we'll start with blue tree, which is gonna have 5 in violent momentum. This gives us hundreds of gun damage, and when we are using a class mod with violent momentum, we could get even over 1,000 gun damage with this. Then we have violent speed to help get more violent momentum. Cold War, just because we're swapping a bunch, Cold War is going to be huge for the swap speed. We have 1 point in salvation. Clone can shoot. When it shoots a gun, it will heal. And then we have drone delivery, drone just throwing grenades to help us. Then we have Seeing Red to activate our kill skills. Really only matters when we're spawning to start combat. We don't go Cool Hand because that won't give us a faster reload, which means reload animations like the Zephyrs Eruption and Pestilence will be harder to cancel, and those reload effects are what the power of the gun is. Right here does not matter. I went 5 points violent violence, just so if our gun does accidentally break, we can quickly go back to reloading. these points in playing dirty don't matter at all. You could really just throw these into salvation to really help you top off that damage or that healing. And then we have 3 points in good misfortune just to get as much return as possible for our action skill to keep it really high up. When I am going to action skills and I'm not going Seeing Dead, which is very common for no purple tree builds, I will always go 3. Only ever really go 1 point if I'm either going Calm, Cool, Collected, or I'm going Seeing Dead. And then we have Death Falls Close to boost our kill skills, which includes Violent Momentum. It does not say it, but Violent Momentum counts as a kill skill. It doesn't need a kill to activate, but it gets those kill skill bonuses, which is crazy. And then we have Red Tree going down to Double Barrel. We have Mutinous for more magazine size for clone mainly. We have Borrowed Time for the action skill duration. We have Donnybrook to give clone damage. We have Fractal Frags for clone to throw a grenade. You can take this out and then drone can throw damage grenade if you want, but I prefer not to do that. We only need 1 point in Duct Tape mod. We have 2 to get down the tree, but only need 1 for that splash immunity. And then we have Quick Breather. When we swap with Clone, Clone will restore up to 50% of max health, as well as recharging your shield and Clone shield, which is really nice. Then we have Old You. If we go down and can't get back up, then having Old You is really nice to sacrifice Clone, and then we get a second wind. We have Supersonic Man to get more out of Violent Momentum. Same reason we go Violent Speed. Then we go 3 in Pocket Full of Grenades. Usually you only go 1 because of Boom Enhance, but we're doing it because of the Fish Slap tech. So we want to have 3 just to have as much ammo or grenade region as possible, and we also have the open skill points to do so. Then I have 1 point in Boom Enhance, 1 out of 1 I guess. We have it to boost our damage. It gets a lot of damage increase, max health increase, fire rate, reload speed, clone duration. It's just an insane skill. We do not go Trick of the Light. Usually I would do this, but Trick of the Light will apply to your pestilence and it will down you. Now it is cryo, but because of the cryo action skill, because of pestilence, it will not be immune to Duct Tape mod because Duct Tape mod only applies to your guns and grenades. Then we got Double Barrel to give Clone a gun to just help us mob even faster. And then the rest of the points we go in Green Tree, 1 because we have nothing else to point, and it does give some nice stuff. We have Ready for Action for shield recharge rate and delay. Then we have Rise to the Occasion for some health regen, and then Adrenaline for some cooldown rate. Now what at first I did, and what you still can do only if you're going not gun, I would suggest this, is getting Calm, Cool, Collected and Refreshment. You would take points out of this purple tree or blue tree, getting rid of Death Falls Close and just extra points, and then get at least 1 in Good Misfortune. Getting down here, you'd really just avoid really expensive jacket. Nothing else hurts you. I'd also ignore Futility Belt. Now this will lower Violent Momentum damage, and it will lower Donnybrook damage, which will lower Clones damage, but it's not too needed. The only time I really would see it needed is raid bossing with True Trial bosses, possibly. Really don't need to, but it could be possible. But that just really opens a second play style for you to have with mobbing, which is really nice. But again, it's only during lower tier where it's at least competitive, and it's from my low testing where I don't really know the spawns well. It felt like similar results to where it isn't worth giving up all that damage where it can be elsewhere. And then for the action skills, we go Sentinel. Sentinel is so we can point to do our reload canceling, which is faster than meleeing or swapping. If your action skill does go away because we don't have Calm, Cool, Collected, our action skill does sometimes go away, which is okay. You would just do the swap technique or the meleeing. I found swapping away and swapping back to your weapon being faster for the pestilence So I'd ideally do that method. And then we go static charge and bad dose. If you're using action skills for damage with the non-gun stuff, then you'd want to go boomstay. I'd probably take it out of bad dose, but you could go static shield or bad dose. It doesn't really matter. As long as you have boomstay for doing that damage. And also can be used if you find yourself going down a lot. Keeping this on with going our Zepsis Eruption, even on Pestilence Fam, can be good fight for your life system. Now we have so much damage and fight for your life tools with Clone that's really not needed, but if you find yourself in that situation, that is an option. And then with Clone, you're either going to want to go which one's real or Shredded Food, but you want to make sure you have the Doppelbanger skill. This is so we can blow up Clone when needed. If we need to reposition him and swapping is going to cut it, then you can just blow him up at any time and then place him somewhere else. Now, when you are doing the melee with fish slaps, I do recommend turning off emergency response and shield reboot just to help keep your shield down to get that maximum bonus, or to keep the bonus of the award shield. And then I don't go it on this build, but you definitely could do some stuff with Speed Demon to get even more out of Pestilence. Pestilence is strong enough, it does not matter, but it is an option. But you can easily just keep on Mayhem 10, which I cannot say this is the same for a lot of non-gun or non-DLC Zane builds. I hope you guys enjoyed the build video. This build does take some knowledge to play correctly, and I try and explain the best I can, but I will link tons of videos in the description to help you out, and please ask any questions you have in the comments or in my Discord. This build takes damage formula to the next level and throws everything you know about Zane out the window. Who needs to actually shoot guns when you can cancel a reload, slam on the ground, or throw a fish at an enemy and watch it die? Now, you can still shoot guns on this build like my 3-tree sack build, but it's not something I like to do. You could also do some launcher stuff. It's also just slower than Pestilence, just one-shotting everything from mobbing. Again, you can find the save file in my Discord, which is linked down below, as well as my other socials. If you haven't, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.